How you doing, everybody? Randy Richard in the shop. I hope everybody's doing well, especially after Thanksgiving and everything. Install this. This is an ALSGS power feed on my Z-axis on my milling machine. This is what I've been using. It's a Milwaukee, an old Milwaukee actually. I bought it at a thrift store. Had put a new switch in it and fixed the cord, I think. When I got it, right angle drive, and of course I built the adapter, to go on the mill. This is what I've been using. It works great. This has forward and reverse single speed drill, but I mean it works fantastic. And but I've decided to upgrade to real power feed. I am also going to put one on the Y-axis, but not today. Just Z-axis today. Yeah, it's made in probably China. Made in China. It doesn't say that, but I know it's made in China. You can go online, do a bunch of research, and pretty much they all look the same, and they're all made in China. But this is what I can afford right now, so this is what we're going to do. Variable speed on the knob. It has a rapid switch push button and power on and off. Right there, circuit breaker overloaded. I mean, not a bad looking unit. So we'll see. And but like I said, I'm going to also put one of these on my Y-axis also. I already have one on the Z, on the X-axis. Like a lot of people, but I'm going full bore. So let's get to it here and get this mounted. And I've got Harold's shirt on today, so he's here in the shop helping. So thank you, Harold, for the shirt. My mill is a Max mill. It's a Bridgeport Clone, made in Taiwan. I think the year is in the 70s for this mill. But I've had it now for a while. 6, 7, 8 years. A Inco power feed, forward, reverse, rapid, variable speed unit on here. It came with the mill and works really good. I've had to do a little work on it over the years. Needed a cover for the gears, had to work on the gears, new switch, push button for the rapid, things like that. But it works really good. This is the X-axis, back and forth. This is the Y-axis, in and out. And this is your Z-axis, up and down. I will put a power feed on here next after I do this one. Today we're going to do the Z. And this is what I've been using, of course, the Milwaukee with an adapter, which are really fairly easy to make. And this has worked out really well. It goes on easy. I can hold it up here, stand up, and actually operate it. Which, that's a pretty handy feature, actually. Other than that, you have your handle, slips on for manually up and down, right? And it's 100 thousandths per revolution, so that's how much it moves. And it has a dial and all that. So we're going to tear this all apart and get the power feed installed. Alright, here's all the miscellaneous parts that came with it. Some screws. These are like shims, spacer washer shims. Here's the adapter drive, and some spring and such. That covers the gear right there. Okay, and these are the stops. This is a rail for the stops that these slide in here for adjustable stops. You mount. And then the other parts. Instructions. Well, instructions are lean. They do show you an assembly picture right there. They do give you some step-by-step installation, the limit switch installation, and then we jump right into operation and maintenance. So, and parts
parts list, parts exploded diagram, descriptions, and some troubleshooting. Okay. Instructions to install crossfeed. Well, we're not doing that. Knee lift feed. So here's some more instructions about knee lift feed. Making sure things are straight, obviously. And more step instructions about the knee lift feed. Instructions about the knee T-track I just showed you, and the limit switches. And limit switch assembly installation. And that's a longitudinal feed. So it looks like this book covers all their setups. So we'll start right off with that and take a look at what we need to do. Just so you know, I paid full price for all this stuff. I have no affiliation with the folks I bought it from. I will put a link in the description, and that's about it. I bought it directly from these outfit in China, so I did it online, and their prices were just very competitive. So that's why I bought the stuff from them. So that's the way it is these days.
All right, first we're going to remove the dial and the feed here mechanism. Now I put the handle on here. This I had to loosen this. This is the lock nut for the dial. So and I can hold this so it screws. It's pushing this out. So we'll just keep screwing that. Shim washers. This piece is threaded onto this shaft. After doing some research, I figured that out. Anyway, extremely tight. Tried the lock nut and the other lock nut for the dial on here, and no go. But a chain vice grip, I was able to get it undone without marring this up. There was a couple marks in it already, so somebody else worked on it, but it broke loose. Anyway, threaded on. They want you to replace this. This one is aluminum, obviously. This is the one they supplied, made out of steel, and it has the holes drilled for the screws that hold the unit on. Now, looking at the alignment of this and the part here where this threads, these holes are, the bolt circle is a little too small. I mean, this fits in there fine, and registration seems to be good with this ring, this circle in here, but the bolt circle is a little off. So I'm going to open these holes up with an end mill, so I only I don't make the hole too much bigger and lose the shoulder. I'm just going to go to one side, and I'm going to punch through there with an end mill. This is the bearing here. This is like part of the bearing housing or something. Anyway, the casting of the framework here. This is mounted into. That's where the threaded part of the hole is. Well, let me tell you, this one is probably like at an angle about like that. It's not even close to being parallel to the shaft. And these other ones are they're sketchy. This plate, these aren't big enough to allow some clearance for misalignment at all. I've chosen the best option as far as visually aligning these holes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill these holes bigger so I can get this so that it's not pushing on the screws that are going to go in there. This one is horrible. Look at the angle of that. I don't know if you can tell the angle of that, but it's really bad. These ones are better, but still not very good. That one's even crooked. So I have a couple options. I could drill 3 new holes in the casting, which I can drill better than by hand than these holes were ever drilled. I don't even know how they drilled them, but I can drill by hand better than that. Because it really doesn't matter where these are. So this is the plate they supplied, and I've opened these up, and because of their such poor misalignment, I've had to really open these up even to get close. I mean, this is nice. It's steel. I could make a whole new one of these. But the other problem is where these holes go, you have only so many mounting holes. Here, you can see these are the mounting holes and how they align with those 2 holes. So the odds of you having the right combination aren't really very good to get this so it mounts nice and vertical. So, I don't know if you watch the channel Inheritance Machining, the guy's pretty darn good. But he just did one of these also. And I kind of like what he is. He used the original plate here. And what he did is he just aligned it where he wants, punched and drilled this to what he wanted, which I am all for. These are closer than the new piece. I think I'm just going to use this and go from there. Now this doesn't sit proud like this one. This one's a lot thicker. You can see that difference there, about 1/4 inch or so. So that might matter a little bit on spacing. We'll see. I could also just put this up there and punch marks in this, and I could probably get this one to work, especially if I drill my own new holes. So I'm debating on that right this minute, and we'll be back. Here's the plan. Since the holes are so screwed up inside the housing, I'm going to drill new holes. I'm going to turn this to this position here and just drill all new ones. And then I'm going to make a new piece to go on here, the adapter plate. But to drill those holes, to keep them so they're get them nice and straight and square, I made a drill guide. So this is just a piece of Delrin, and I have the 3 holes in it. These holes are for the mounting of the unit if I decide to use them. So I just put them in there while I was doing it. But I'm going to make a whole new piece, right? But anyway, so I'll be using these 3 holes, and I have a drill guide, and that drill guide will go in here like so. Fits nice and tight. And I'm going to line that up. This just fits perfect over the threads and perfect into the housing. So I can drill right through that plate that's in there, which I can't remove unless I pull the bearing and the whole shaft or something out, because I don't know exactly how that's all retained in there, but I can't get it out. So we'll just line this up, and I'll drill that one hole, tap it, and I'll pull this out, and I'll put a screw in. And that will hold this in place, and then I'll move the drill guide down here and here and do the same and drill, and then we'll be able to tap those also. And that will give me 3 new holes, nice and square. It's what you got to do sometimes. So we'll just we'll get that lined up here, and we'll put it in. Screw and stick it through here and catch that plate. And just kind of, I'm just going to eyeball it. Oh, there's the hash mark in the housing from the dot for the dial, so I can just kind of line that screw hole up with that, I think, and it will be pretty good, pretty close. Now this hole I'm drilling here with this drill, it's smaller than it needs to be. I'll come back with the 5mm drill and drill the holes and tap them. They're metric threads for the screws, so. Now we'll tap it. This is a M6x1. Move the drill guide and screw this into place. This is a 3-inch piece of 304 stainless, about 7/8 of an inch thick.
Pretty close. Pretty close. 8.5 tenths. Barely, I can't feel any difference, but you can barely see there is, but really can't feel it, so that's okay for what it's doing. Alright, we're in the center of the part. We're going to set it up for 3 of the holes. We'll just use the function here for bolt hole circle. Center's already on center. 2.437. 2.437 is the diameter. 3 holes. That's kind of default. You can set it to whatever you want. Starting angle will be 0, which is just fine. Ending angle 360, and we're ready to go. We'll just adjust the table till both will read 0, and that's where the hole goes. And we can cycle through the holes 2 and number 3. Simple as that. The functions on DROs today are just fantastic. Make things so easy.
All right, I just have a spotting drill, a 1/4-inch spotting drill in there. Since it's stainless, I'll be spotting the holes first. Since it's only 3 holes, I'll just change out each time. It's not that big a deal.
All right, all done up, nice and cleaned up. I deburred all the holes. I keep a battery drill on the bench with a countersink in it pretty much all the time. So, looks pretty darn good. I think we're ready to put her in.
All right, we solved issue number 1. Issue number 2. This is the extension shaft, and they wanted to screw in this surface to mate up against the inner race of the bearing. Well, we're about 3/8 of an inch shy of doing that. I mean, it goes on there nice and really pretty easy, right? But it, boom, solid, right? Maybe even a little more, maybe 1/2 inch. Well, so what's wrong? Well, they have over 1 inch, the threads, how the threads go clear down to here. So, well, about 1.25 inch, 1 3/8 of threads. So maybe those bottom inner threads aren't quite to size. And we only have about 1 inch here of threads. I'm thinking that that's the problem in there, and we'll go in there and take out, so I only have about 1 inch of threads out here at this end, and take out the stuff in the back, and that way it will continue to thread on. So just as a confirmation that these threads are fine, this is the original piece, and it goes on all the way up to the bearing. So the threads on this shaft are fine. All right, I got it chucked up in the lathe. This portion right here is a bearing surface, so I'm not going to chuck it there on the other portion. All right, so I took off some threads and I tried it out, and still, then it would only go to about 1/4 of an inch of hitting the race, and this key that was here had to come out. It was hitting the key, so I took that out, and now it goes all the way up to the race. So there we go. So it goes all the way on as per instructions. Well, I think we got all the parts made finally. So, or modified. I'm going to squirt a little oil in this. This is a shielded bearing, so we're going to see if we can get a little to soak in there, just because. Okay, let's see if it goes in there, right? Well, okay, they say to put on this first, actually. No, but yeah, that's about tight as you get it. The table wants to go up, so it should be good. Let's hope it's good. Oh, look, I don't have to fight it. everything lines up. I'm oiling this little roller bearing in here. Good. I'm putting oil on it. It didn't come with really like anything, but I think oil will be fine. Oh yeah, look at that, awesome. I don't know why, but I've been using these are metric screws. I've been using the wrong Allen wrench. I've played around a bunch with this to determine backlash, and because you don't want the gears binding, but you can see here the clutch here is engaged, and but there's still a little play there in the gear. You can see that. So this makes it very difficult. It's not like it's solid. So when you put this on here, this is very difficult to feel. So are you just moving the gear? So it's hard to tell. But there's like very little movement. But when you put this on without any shims and lock it down, you're going to make that tight, this binds up. So now it doesn't move at all. So we do have to shim it because you don't want it to bind. After a lot of playing around, so what I did, I measured with a caliper from the end of the shaft to the end of the bushing, without anything in there. Then I put this real thick spacer in there. This came with the kit. Put that on and just held it tight, and I measured it. That thick spacer only brought it out 18 thousandths, which isn't very much, but that little bit amount is enough that it's not bound up when you tighten it up. Now you can see there's this tiny bit of play. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can just feel it. You push against the gear hard, and then you can back away before it hits the other tooth. And it's not bound up. I can actually turn the spindle kind of with my hand, right? So that's what you want, and at least I feel that's what I want. You don't want it to be bound up at all in there when you make this tight. So that's what I'm going to go with. Now I have to put the key in here because this locks on the shaft with a small key. Real small key. So about 1/8 of an inch square. I turned it around so you can see the keyway is. I just gotta put a little bit on there. It just kind of makes it so it slides on nice and easy. Plenty of grease on the gear. Alright, now the dial goes on here. And you don't want the dial rubbing up hard against there either, so they give you a bunch of shims. So we'll put shims in here to stop the dial from rubbing. Right? I'm going to take all of these. Because when you make that tight, you don't want, when you tighten the lock nut up, you don't want it to bind with the housing, because it's you're still going to turn this. So that looks pretty good. This large spacer goes there. The lock nut goes here. Not rubbing, and good fit. And then you put the spring on, then you put your handle on, and then this screw and washer on the end. So that pushes out when you're done with the handle and just hangs there as it spins around. That's the idea. I have to still mount the limit switch, but we're going to plug it in and give it a try. Alright, we're all plugged in. Now we're going to give it a try. This should be up. Power on. Should be up. Nice and slow. Fast. Down. Fast. Slow. Rapid. Up. Rapid. Handle there and turned off, and you're gonna have to hold that in though. It's gonna be a two-hand operation almost, but it works really nice. Works smooth. We'll test the limit switch. There's the down limit, up limit. Alright, limit switch operates. I just got to get it mounted. Alright, so far so good, and very happy with this. Yes, it's taken some work, but listen what you do. You know, look what you're doing. You're having to, you know, something that they're making to specs, and hopefully it fits most machines. You know, well, I had to do a little work, but my work was more because of how they screwed up the holes in the machine when they built the machine. So that's really all it was. Anyway, dial works good. Has a nice little mark here. I'm gonna have to put something dark in that line, since the whole thing is an off-white color, so you can see the line well. But yep, looks good. This is the limit switch for the Z-axis. I mounted this on the body switch on the knee. I used a piece of just steel 1.5 inch square tubing. It's just worked out awesome as far as distance from the rail and everything. Pretty simple installation. So drill a couple holes and mount this on there. Came out actually pretty simple. Using some Adel clamps for some of the wiring, and I think that came out pretty awesome. It works real well. See how that works? The whole thing travels up and down. Thank you for watching the install of the Z drive, and the next will be the Y-axis drive. So we'll get another video about that. There's probably going to be issues with that, just like there was some with the Z-axis. You know, that's just the way kits are. So as long as you're prepared for that, it's not that bad. They're awesome to have, and so we'll get to it. So thank you guys for watching, and in the future here, I have two. These are AIKRON, AIKRON DRO systems, and one for the large lance lathe and one for my 11-inch Logan lathe. We're going to get those installed. So there'll be videos on that. Anyway, these are pretty nice actually. LCD screens, and I plugged them in. They look pretty good. So anyway, we'll be checking that out. Anyway, so stay tuned for the Y-axis drive on the mill. Please subscribe. You know, click that notification bell. Everyone says it. No one does it. So why say it, right? So anyway, thank you guys for watching and sticking with me. I know I haven't been very active, but I think my activity will increase here through the winter, and we'll shoot for one a week. So, and I have lots of projects to do. So we'll catch you guys, and we'll have a happy holidays and everything. So we'll see you then.